5 and 1.
The fastest animal in the world is perfectly shaped for high speed, but achieves maximum velocity only during a dive.
We all love Lucky, yeah? And, you know, because we love him, we want what's best for him. And so the thing is we're...
The flat is too small. What he really needs is a house with a big back garden. Do you understand that, all?
It's only fair, isn't it?
But it'll be okay here until we move.
What?
To the house with the back garden.
Oh, love, we didn't mean that...
They'll be all right. I didn't it very odd. Yeah, that's the doctor's car, innit? He's getting out. You all right?
Yeah. Did you recognise him?
No, probably just kids.
Oh, so this is where you've been hiding out?
Yeah. Think you'll like it?
Yeah, of course. Didn't you buy one of these for his first Christmas?
Yeah, great dad I was, wasn't I? He couldn't even hold a knife and fork when I expected him to race me 50.
Now listen, his dinner's in a red bowl in the fridge, and there's juice in the cupboard, and I've got his cup on the drain board. Don't...
Surface. A Nobel Prize winner and groundbreaking playwright, RTE celebrates Samuel Beckett in Beckett 100.
That's the cliche about Beckett, isn't it? That he wouldn't let you in, but I think he does let you in if you're the right person.
The season includes a profile.
Do you like tin food, Billy?
What tin food?
RTE presents Beckett 100, beginning...
Round 3.
GP, who was there? And exactly, and what is extraordinary is that none of this was found to have been a problem in the Culligan report that was done immediately afterwards, the Internal Garda report that was selectively leaked to the press, in fact at the time in a manner that was very damaging, not just to the memory of John Carthy, but also to the reputation of his sister and his mother. And these are critical factors, that an internal report found one fault, that he wasn't given access to a solicitor. One fault. This report lists, as far as I can count, 14 if not 17 problems in relation to the actions of senior officers, 14 counts of negligence in relation to the actions of scene commanders, and pages of negligence in relation to the overall assessment of the entire operation.
One thing that's quite shocking is, I'm sure it was very traumatic for the guards who actually shot John Carthy. The Gardaí, and the guard in particular, Sergeant Jackson, who was negotiating with John Carthy, wasn't given the adequate information to do his job. He was denied information that he needed to do his job.
The report states that there are 27 trained negotiators in the state. One negotiator, one very unfortunate man, was put in the position for 20 hours uninterrupted to have to carry out the negotiation, having no previous experience and having just recently done a training course. It's an impossible position to put a person in, and he is personally exonerated for his conduct in that regard, and I think fairly so. But that is clearly points to a problem in terms of the control and planning of such operations. And furthermore, we need to know that there is going to be reform in the deployment of these kind of resources in the future, because this is critical if any lesson is to be learned from this. And we're not to assume that any lesson is to be learned. If you look at the defence that was presented to the tribunal by all of the Garda witnesses, it was as if they had done nothing wrong. So presumably there's going to have to be some...
And that's the news so far this Monday. More, of course, at 9. But for now, from me, Sharon Eamon, and all the team, a very good evening to you.
Take care.
The so-called the goat episode, clearly that was not adequately investigated or cleared up. It poisoned John Carthy's mind against the Gardaí. It fed into the...
For the benchmark that's been set, and today we have seen a Kerry team that is completely revitalised from the team we saw in Portlakeith maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago, Gerald.
Eamon Fitzmaurice on for Owen Brosnan into the last minute. Kerry hated it being said about them that they were beaten in '92 by Armagh in the All-Ireland final, beaten in the semi-final by Tyrone, beaten in last year's final by Tyrone. They hated it being said about them that they weren't able to stand up to Northern opposition. They did beat Armagh, of course, back in 2000, but this is the one they really wanted to win. That's a foul there by Francie Bellew. He's on a yellow, he's been on a yellow, I think, since last week.
I think he's well used to yellow cards as Francie, but he's as cute as a fox. Seldom ever ends up getting the second one.
Brian Sheehan, this time, I think it's just a case of using up a few seconds. There's going to be 2 added minutes played. Well, for any of us who doubted that Kerry were a spent force at half-time, we have more than got our answer. They had scored 1-5 up to the break. Look at it now, 3-13 to 1-13 in added time. Brian Sheehan letting it fly. There's a player in the square. It's the Gooch. Free taken by McNulty. Well, the game really only collapsed after that third Kerry goal scored by Darren O'Sullivan in the 65th minute. Prior to that, Armagh were giving it everything. Kerry, super. Moynihan, lion-hearted as ever. Donaghy has played a real part. Out as far as Dara O'Shea. At half-time, I think a lot of people were saying this is going to be the end we're going to see of the Kingdom. They've come back. They're virtually in the semi-final. Who's to say they will make it to the final? And that is Fitzmaurice. First since coming on. And now it is 3 goals and 14 points to 1 goal and 13. It's Jack O'Connor's day and his magnificent team from the Kingdom.
Yeah, and you can see the confidence flowing through their pores at the moment. They're just giving an exhibition of support play, of backward passing, and of scoring. It's been a wonderful second half to behold, and we're privileged to have watched it, Ger.
Philip Loughran trying to set up Paul Duffy. Coming through here, the support player Brian Mallon on his hands and knees. But it comes back out again, this time to Brian Sheehan. We're in the final 40 seconds. Colm Cooper and his colleagues will just want to hold on to it now. Declan O'Sullivan wins a free. Well, interesting, since the sending off, Kerry have got a goal and 3. Armagh got 2 points. Who says Kerry can't do 14 men?
Yeah, one of the things too I think we should commend is Dara O'Shea's first 20 minutes of the second half, because it was he who lit the torch paper from where they really, from where the drive came from.
He's a wonderful footballer, great athlete, but a brilliant brain. Donaghy, who has shown everybody at Croke Park what a fine footballer he is, not just a great basketball player. And that's a free there for a foul on Declan O'Sullivan. And the Ulster champions are rocked.
Well, certainly are rocked.
A couple of Kerry players down, and Kieran McKeever could be in some difficulty here. Kieran Donaghy, the one of the players who's down. McKeever has been ticked earlier on, just a yellow.
Yeah, and I think Declan Sullivan is the other guy down. And Kieran McKeever just showing a little bit of impetuousness, a bit of silliness at the moment. Kerry will be delighted with that free being given away. And again, they'll probably just, Brian Sheehan will tap it over the bar, the Gooch will do the necessary.
This is what happened here. 2 against 1.
Yeah, that's filthy now. That's the use of the boot in the first place and stamping all over him in the second place, then trying to apologise. That's ridiculous.
No place for that whatsoever.
No, and again in the Ulster final against Donegal, he was at a bit of the same messing with Christy Toy over the far side, and that's something that, you know, is just uncalled for at this stage of the game.
Just looking ahead to the second quarter-final, Donegal must be saying, how good are Cork now, seeing as how they beat Kerry? Cork must be saying, are we going to possibly, if we get through Donegal, have to face Kerry all over again for the 3rd time in this year's championship?
No, the old word, they'll be focused on one another at the moment, but when they wake up this evening at 6 o'clock, it'll be a different thing.
Second for Brian Sheehan, 2 from 2. The additional time has been well and truly played. It's an 8-point victory for Kerry. Jack O'Shea, whatever he said to his charges at half-time, they came out like men possessed. They took the fight to Armagh. They were no longer going to be bossed around. They tidied it at the back, but more importantly, they won primary possession out the field, and the supply lines were cut off to the likes of Stevie McDonnell and Ronan Clark. And for Joe Kernan, it's a very disappointing day. There with Paul Grimley and John McCloskey. It's Kerry's afternoon in the sun. Their fans will enjoy the journey home after all of this. Did we say they were in trouble? Never. Not where Kerry's concerned, because at the end, in this opening Bank of Ireland quarter-final, they have come through and they have won handsomely. And bear in mind, they have done it with 14 men for the last 10 minutes of the 70. Wonderful victory. Joe Kernan will be the first to acknowledge that. You never have a Kerry team beaten. They just don't know the word defeat down in the Kingdom. They showed tremendous heart and resolution. They had the passion, they had the appetite. Martin, they're very much in the hunt for the Sam Maguire.
Oh yeah, they had the skill also, and they got the imagination and got the real heart for it, Ger. The second half, when it became a battle, it was Kerry that kept at it. It was Kerry who got the scores. It was Kerry who fully deserved to win. And again, it must be said, the quality of the football is something we haven't seen all year. Again, it's a reprise of the second half of the National League final when they were superb in that. It's been a few months coming, but when it came, by God, was it worth watching.
They mightn't have won Munster, but they have won the National League, but that pales into insignificance by comparison with Kerry's love of the Sam Maguire Cup. Sean Welsh there, the County Board chairman. Sean O'Sullivan, one of the stars. He may have gone off injured during the second half, but he really played his heart out, as did each and every one of them. And at the end of a titanic struggle, it's Kerry who win. Kerry 3-15, Armagh 1 goal and 13 points. Let's go down to the sideline to Marty.
Thank you very much, Chair. Jack O'Connor, wonderful performance by Kerry.
Yeah, Marty. We felt this was coming ourselves. We felt very good coming into the game. You know, I suppose 3 weeks ago we were written off, I think. I was pundit saying we were gone, that this team was finished. We knew ourselves, the people within the group, that we were far from finished. We regrouped well after the replay in Cork. We actually became very much closer as a group and as a team. And
because Jack, there was a lot of rumours going around and innuendo that there was disharmony in the camp. But even if that was true, you have responded magnificently today.
Well, sure, people can talk, and as the fellow said, paper never refused ink, but we weren't worried about that. Once it didn't affect the players, we weren't worried about it. And sure, what's wrong with it if a few players draw a few swipes at each other inside in training? Is that what you want? In fact, I was only praising him for doing that. But look, we're delighted. It was a great second half performance. We were under pressure in the first half. Played with ferocious intensity. We felt they couldn't keep that up. Our big man came up trumps again. That goal was a turning point. Delighted for the lads. They put up with a lot of stuff.
And Jack, it was a significant move to move Kieran Donaghy from midfield to full forward. You obviously were confident all the time that would work.
Sure, I didn't know how that would work or not, but we had to try it, you know. There just wasn't enough direction in our play. We were a bit slow in our build-up, but he certainly has done the business for us over these 2 games, and even though Francie did well on him today, he's still a little bit of damage in there, so just delighted. Delighted for the lads that came on as well. We were on 4 subs, they all contributed. Even Eamon Fitz there kicked the last point, drove up from the half-back line, so delighted. and just looking forward to the next round now, Marty.
Well, you should be delighted. Congratulations on a wonderful performance. Well done, Jack.
Well, I think, gentlemen, we all have to congratulate Kerry on that. That was a truly good performance. It was a great game of football, and that has to be the quote of the year from Jack O'Connor. So what harm of a few fellas hitting a few belts of each other in training?
We didn't know it was as bad as that. We thought there was just a bit of sulking going on.
Not a bit of harm at all, but this was a real game of football.
Yeah.
This is as good a game of football as we have seen since last year's semi-final. And I said at half-time, you know, that Kerry were playing for the soul of their team and their county, and they responded in real style. This was the best Kerry performance in a long, long time, and probably the most important win in all the championships that they have won. What they have done now is they've sort of buried this ghost that they can't beat an Ulster team. So, you know, and it elongates the career of Seamus Moynihan and Darragh O'Shea, who was absolutely brilliant when the gun was put to his head today. So it's a real overjoying performance in terms of football skill, but also in that restores the old order, which we thought was maybe gone forever.
Sure, I'll tell you, Cork and Donegal, which is coming up next, is something to live up to. You know, at half-time, Kerry were, I said it, they were just about hanging in there, but they really, really bounced back in the second half. Kieran Donaghy, I mean, it was the obvious thing against Longford to put him in, grab balls, score goals, and he did it today against Armagh. It was the critical goal.
Was, and I thought, I mean, and Darragh O'Shea and all those boys were excellent, but I thought his was the critical performance because he burst the Armagh bubble. You know, it was a huge psychological boost for them, you know, for Donaghy to score that goal against Armagh's sort of defensive talisman, you know, and to score it so emphatically. And I'll tell you this, and Colin will agree, there's nothing like a goal of that order, and look at him putting his face into the keeper's face. Psychologically, it was a massive boost, and you could see it galvanised the Kerry team. And, you know, suddenly Armagh looked vulnerable because a while lot about football's in the mind. And after that, Kerry played with great confidence. And as Colin says, they've always had the best footballers. Yeah. But up until now, after that, they got their chests out. And I mean that's the first pasting Armagh have had since they started. 7 years. Oh, yeah. They were beaten by 7 points. I mean, they haven't, if you counted up all their defeats over the years.
It wasn't a 7 point. It was 7 points really didn't, you know.
It was more than that,
the two Kerry goals put a bit of an impression. Like Armagh were given as good as they got, but they got rattled, and I haven't seen Armagh rattled in a big game. When Donaghy got that goal, you could see, you know, it wasn't the Armagh team that we know.
No, it wasn't, but as Joe said, you know, the confidence was starting to flow in Kerry, and when you have backs, when you have wing backs and full backs who come up and take points. Yeah.
Yes, well, it was a day when the O'Sheas recovered their form, you know, because Tomás O'Shea has had a bad year. Yes. Mark O'Shea has been the best of them, but today the two brothers, and you know, Tomás discovered a bit of his form today. You know, what a point! What a point to send out a signal. He walks off the last day, goes into the dressing room, and I'm sure Jack O'Connor said to him, no player is bigger than the team, and maybe a few of the thumbs thrown in training were
I think in fact the very next point, Mark O'Shea dummied the Armagh defender. I love that. And then stuck it over the bar.
He's some footballer.
Oh, well, I mean, they're just terrific Gaelic footballers. I mean, this is it. Look at that. I mean,
if the Gooch got that, you'd be admiring it.
And let's. I mean, there's your cornerback. That's the team's cornerback, and you know, it will be a massive boost to their confidence because they've lived in the shadow of Ulster teams now for 4 or 5 years, and as Colin says, that's much more important than beating Mayo in the All-Ireland final. It's a huge tonic to them, and all of a sudden you go back to their league final. I'd say they'll
take beating Mayo in the All-Ireland final as well if they get that chance once more. Darren O'Sullivan then put the icing on the cake with his goal.
He did, and it was a critical Armagh error, even though Kerry probably were going to win the game anyway, but at that stage Kerry were gone back to playing brilliant football, but Andy McNulty gives a hospital pass, and Darren O'Sullivan, and even though the old Kerry players stood up, they also got a huge boost from the likes of Darren O'Sullivan. Yeah. I thought Sean O'Sullivan was excellent too, even though they took him off about 10 minutes to go. It paid off.
In a strange quirk of fate, you might recall that Galway played Armagh 5 or 6 years ago in an All-Ireland semi-final, and Enda McNulty's pass was intercepted for Galway's winning point. Do you remember that day?
Right, gentlemen, before we move on to the next match, we want to get our man of the match from this game for you announced. There were so many good performances. Again, we said this, but there really was today. The O'Sheas, all of them are magnificent. Darragh O'Shea was our choice as man of the match. He's with Marty right now.
Thank you very much, Michael. Well, it is the turn of Colin McKenna, the head of marketing for the Bank of Ireland Northern Ireland, is going to present the RT Bank of Ireland Man of the Match Award, and there's also €1,000. Do so. €1,000 going to the Players Fund. So all round a great day, Darragh. Well done, Colin. Thank you very much, Darragh. What a performance! Second half.
Yeah, it was very warm out there. We knew Armagh were going to be very physical. They have been throughout the year. So, I mean, I suppose people don't realise how physical the games we had against Cork were, you know. So we were kind of prepared in a way for that, and also we had the Longford game that was very fast game to play against Plain as well. So, you know, we were prepared. I suppose we had the best possible preparation coming into it. I mean, Armagh had a couple of weeks off, didn't know who they were playing up along, you know. So I suppose we came in under the radar in that respect. But we're delighted to get a win. Like, we're in the semi-final now, and sure, I mean, there's no medal given out this time of the year, I'm afraid, Marty.
But losing the Munster final and coming back in, and I put it to Jack O'Connor earlier with a lot of innuendo and rumours about a little bit of strife in the camp. The people of Ireland, in fact, got the response today from the Kerry football team.
I don't know about that, Marty. There's still war going on inside there. You're getting the inside line. No, I don't know. Like, I mean, to be fair, we've been around the block a few times now, and I mean, rumours and innuendos like that, I suppose they don't really affect you. I mean, you have a job to do. I mean, ultimately, like, you want to win the All Ireland and you want to get up there. Now we were in the quarter final. We stumbled along. We're stumbling along still. We got over Armagh. We're now in the semi-final. I mean, it's up to ourselves, really. You know, I mean, we don't know who we're playing yet. It's going to be tough. We've either Donegal or Cork coming through. It's going to be very tough. We're delighted to win today, and hopefully we'll be back up in a couple of weeks' time and see how we get on.
I know you, being a Gaelic man, you'd love it if it was Cork.
I don't know about that, Marty. I mean, we'll have to come out the wrong side of him a couple of times now. I think we're tempting fate a bit. We'll have to wait and see how it comes out, and we'll see how we get on.
Darragh O'Shea, RT Bank of Ireland, man of the match. Well done. Thank you very much. Back to you, Michael.
Thanks, Marty, and well done indeed to Darragh, and well done also to John Houlihan from Hollymount in County Mayo, who is our Man of the Match competition winner, and that means he's off to the All-Ireland semi-finals on August 20th. 2 people going, overnight accommodation and tickets, of course, to the big match itself. So